So thank you for joining me. I appreciate that none of you will probably know who I am, apart from a couple of you. So my name is Becky McDonald-Lofts. I used to be the warden over on Lundy for about 4 years. And before I left in 2016, I wrote a accreditation scheme that was mainly aimed at local skippers. And it was a very successful scheme. But as you can probably tell, it's been a while. And we had a request to redo the scheme. And we went back out to consultation early this year to find out what people wanted from such a scheme, if we were to redo it. And there seemed to be quite an appetite that it wasn't just for boat skippers, that it was for anybody who was using the coast or the water, that has a business that has some interest to do with marine life, just to find out more about how to behave around marine wildlife. And sustainability was another thing that people asked for. So basically, the way that this accreditation scheme works now is due to that consultation. It's the information that we've been asked, basically, for people that they wanted. So the scheme as it runs now is basically annually. There is a set of training modules for people to complete. Once you've completed them, it's just a case of each year just popping back in to refresh your memory and asking any questions you might have. And the accreditation will be given out on an annual basis. That was another thing that was asked for because people wanted some accountability. So if they weren't abiding by codes of conduct, or they had in some way breached a code of conduct, they wanted a way that the accreditation scheme obviously wouldn't offer the accreditation until those issues were resolved. So that's why it's been done annually. So basically what we did is went away, and because of COVID, a face-to-face workshop really wasn't an appropriate way of doing this. So the best way we could think of was to make it online so that anyone can hop in at any time, and basically just run online all the time. So it's for businesses and individuals. So if you do the course and you go through it, you can have an accreditation as a person, as an individual, so you can take it from one job to another, but also that individual, if they have a business, can then have it as a business accreditation too, with the understanding that they would then bring on board any members of their business, any staff, to come and do the accreditation too, to make sure that everybody is trained. And that was a thing that was asked for as well, to make sure that everyone has an opportunity. So what I'm going to do is I will go through the training, how we actually access it, what hopefully, I know some of your names I recognise, and hopefully you have received an email with a link in it to actually get you into the training itself. But if not, then please do let me know. So I will share my screen with you now, and then we'll go through it. Okay, so what you should hopefully receive is this email, which tells you basically just a welcome, and there is a link in there. Can everybody see that okay? No problems with it?
Yes, fine, Becky.
All good, thank you. Just wanted to check, you know, joys of technology. So basically this link here, the only thing that's a requirement is you do need a Gmail account in order to access it, because we've hosted it for free on Google. So Google Classroom basically is a free resource for anybody in education. So basically you click on the link and it should hopefully open up into the Google Classroom. So mine may look slightly differently to yours, because obviously I'm the person that wrote it, so it may look slightly different, but it should work in the same way. So there's a welcome page, which basically puts any information on there. If people add anything, any questions or anything, it'll all come up in here. There's a classwork section, which is where you'll find all the training. And there's a people section as well that basically tells you who's in the class, so who's signed up for it. So if you click on the classwork one, the way that we've divided this is into different sections. Each bit is tiny and sort of bite-sized, so that people can just jump in, do a little bit and jump out again. The main requirement for this is that there are 3 quizzes which must be completed in order for you to gain the accreditation. So it's a way of us knowing that you have completed the training and that you have a certain level of understanding. We have put a sort of 65% pass rate on it, But if you've got less than that, that doesn't mean that you won't get the accreditation. It means we'll have a one-to-one chat to try and work out where there might be some issues with the learning. We're not going to exclude anybody. We want to make sure that everyone is just at the same level of understanding, that's all. So in here, we've got the different sections. So we've got species of North Devon. So in here, we've got the training session, and that's then split into 3 videos. So again, we tried to make it nice and short and sweet, so that people don't get overwhelmed with information. And you just basically click on the video, it'll run through the video, and you can stop and start it as you want to. And then from there, there's then the quiz, and then basically you just click on the quiz, fill in the answers, and it automatically updates us as to how you've got on. If you don't hear from us, by all means, give us a nudge and say, excuse me, I finished the quizzes and I haven't heard anything from you. So please do give us a nudge. One thing I was also asked for was for extra information for people so that you can actually know the most about North Devon. So each of the sessions also has further information in it if you wish to access it. If you go to Lundy though, we will kind of push, could you please read the biosecurity section? It's really, really important that Lundy remains rodent free. One pregnant female would cause utter havoc on Lundy. So we are aware that some of the other islands that have been declared rat free recently have had incidents. Lundy so far has done really, really well, and we want to keep it that way. So RSPB have created a whole pool of resources on biosecurity. Please do have a look. Even if you're just somebody that visits Lundy, please do take a look. So all that's on there, the biosecurity stuff. There's also a video there from Marine Life, who are a conservation charity. They do lots of work with Lundy and North Devon in terms of looking at marine species in the area. Please have a look at that video from them. It'll give you a bit of background as to what they do. If you have a business whereby you're taking people to see marine life, you might actually want to take part in one of their schemes where they actually have ambassadors who'll come out. An officer will come to you and will help as a volunteer to talk to people about the species that they're seeing. So there's quite a collaborative approach that's available from them. The next section is on habitats and species protection, the legal bit. I've tried to make it as less boring as I could, trying to make it a little bit exciting, but it's just to give a background. It's not, you know, the most detail that you could possibly find on the legal framework, but it's so that you have an understanding of the legalities, so that you understand why there are special areas of conservation, what that means, what a SSSI is, and if you are found to breach the conditions in terms of disturbing a species, what that actually means. You know, because those things are there and we do have to be aware of them. So there's a training session there, and then there's a quiz. There's also some other information in there. So there's the JNC Interactive MPA Mapper. So if you don't know where the marine protected areas are in North Devon, you can use that to find out. There's a Lundy Code of Conduct in there, and there's also a presentation from Devon and 7 IFCA. The IFCA is very active. It's one thing to be aware of, even if you are a recreational potter who likes to go and catch your own lobsters and crabs, there are limits and you are actually required to have a license. So there's some bits of information in there for people to understand what's going on there. And one thing that was completely new and took me by surprise was that people asked for some information on sustainability. So we have a sustainable ecotourism session and the quiz to go with that as well. There's also some information there, obviously, about biosphere business partners. There's also something called the Greener Guest course. Greener Guest are a company that run a course online for free for any business about how to be a bit greener and a bit more sustainable. So I popped that in there just for ease so people can find it. And also about plastic-free communities. North Devon has an amazing plastic-free charity. They're doing lots and lots of work, and they were really helpful in putting this presentation together. And they have quite a few offers on there too. And then there's some further information as well. So I hope that's quite straightforward for everybody and not massively complicated. We tried to make it as easy as we can for people to access it. If you access it and think, no, this is really complicated, I don't like it, please do let us know, because then we can obviously amend it and change it. So once you've completed the 3 quizzes, we would then send you an agreement form. Basically, the agreement, just basically, there's one for an individual, there's one for a business, and it's just to say that you agree to the code of conduct, that you will do your best to make sure that you protect marine wildlife and that you promote sustainable ecotourism in the local area. It's not, you know, a horrendous agreement. It's just to make sure that we're clear on what we expect from those in the accreditation. So there's one as an individual, and say the difference with the business one is that you just agree to bring everybody in your staff or anyone who volunteers for you to come along and do the accreditation too. That's the only difference. And that's basically the course. So hopefully everybody's excited and is going to have a look, have a go of it. And please do feedback. You know, if there's a problem, please let me know. And if something you don't like it, you don't like the way it runs, up for any criticism, we'll just, you know, we'll deal with it and then find out what we can do to make it better. We've got to improve this. We've got to make sure that everybody enjoys it and everyone engages with it. So thank you very much to everybody for coming along today. Really appreciate it.